blood cult to make a mess of your chick and shoot a murder on VHS like SOV flicks. I state the facts, I take it back, pull an insane attack and shoot it on Betamax. I fade to black when I make a gash, like splatter foam, have your blood leaking from a paper bag.
QVC Quality Violent Cinema.
Hello.
Hello, is this Jason Porter?
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Welcome to Quality Violent Cinema.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, this is awesome. Huge fan for a long time. I heard about you about 8 years ago or something from, C Daddy Sickness?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about him from him and, from some features you did on their mixtape, the Got You Back mixtape, which was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And rest in peace to him. He was a great guy. And I don't know. Yeah. So, and you guys worked together a lot too. So it was. Yeah. We have quite a few collaborations together. I'm not sure how many exactly, but it's quite a few. And I did quite a few beats for them guys too. Yeah, I saw that. They gave you all the credits on their inserts, so I was pretty stoked to see that. Once I got more into you and learned more about how your production sounded and stuff, because your production has a really original sound, and I always say that whenever I talk about you, because a lot of producers, it kind of blends together, but your stuff has it's really rooted in the 80s and 90s. You can tell where a lot of your influences from metal and movies and gore and I don't know. It looks like you watch a lot of true crime or news and stuff too, kind of from your lyrics too. There's a lot of kind of real life stuff in there too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I grew up in Detroit too, so I seen a lot of that shit growing up.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Were you born and raised in Detroit, or did you move there at an early age?
No, I was born and raised in Detroit.
So did you grow up watching the whole Bedlam and ICP and Esham, all that stuff happening there? That's awesome. Yeah. Actually, that's the scene that I'm from. I've been dropping shit since about 1992. And that's the from the original horrorcore scene in Detroit, from Esham, ICP, Nodis. There's like House of Crazies, all those groups back in those days. There were so many local horrorcore groups back then, man. There were just a million of them. I know, it was like paradise for people like me who got into it a little bit later, and that's awesome you got to see it, and hopefully you got some video or pictures and stuff just to keep those memories going.
Oh yeah, yep, definitely.
Yeah, and then you had that group, Mad Trauma. Did you guys kind of make a splash in the scene with that?
A little bit, man. My partner, Papa Shane, he was really popular in Detroit. When I got with him, he was actually selling out shows. And then as a solo artist, and then we got together and we did some shows, and they went all right. And we made a little bit of a splash. We put out an album in 1996 called Fatally Wounded, and it did all right.
It's pretty good. I like it.
You've actually heard that?
Yeah, there's some clips on YouTube, and then there's always Soulseek, so that's where I found it. I don't know if you know what Soulseek is, but
nice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great. If I could find a copy, that'd be awesome, but it's probably so rare now.
Yeah, I've only seen it sell online 3 times, and the last time it sold for $100 on eBay. I was tripping. I'm like, man, I wish I'd have kept 50 copies of those. Fuck.
At 96, I mean, that's when House of Crazies was putting out some of their later stuff. ICP was kind of doing their first few Joker's cards and stuff, but that's pretty early in the game. So I mean, that's essentially you're a pioneer. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we actually put out our first single in 1992. And then our full length came out in 96.
So that's 4 years of Mad Trauma that you were doing. Yeah. Were you doing the JPD stuff at all, or were you just trying to mix it up with him?
No, I was just doing the group thing. That was it.
All right. And before that, were you doing any like break dancing or freestyling like people always say they do before they start, or were you kind of more into something else?
I wrote from like an early age. I wrote from probably like 87 on when I was like really, really young.
Mm-hmm.
I started writing raps at that time, but nothing serious or anything like that. I don't consider myself really like taking it serious till like 92. I actually went in and recorded something, and we tried putting out a little cassette and all that locally in Detroit.
Well, that's awesome. Any old history about the Detroit wicked shit horrorcore scene? I'm always interested in, and I envy you for getting to grow up around that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What any history? Gosh, I mean, God, man, what do you want to know? I know a lot of stuff. I was there. I mean, I was there in the beginning of all like ICP and Esham. I mean, all the early stuff. I had Dog Beats.
Nice.
Right around the time it actually came out. Like, I just bought it on a whim.
Did you make any connections with those guys, or were they kind of like a little bit higher tier at the time?
They were higher tier, yeah. They came out and they blew up, man. ICP was a phenomenon in Detroit when they came out, man. They just immediately selling out. I was at their first show, like their first major show. I don't know if you know about the Magic Bag Theater.
No, I don't.
But I was actually, that's like an infamous show. I was actually at that show. I was the first person in line at that show, actually. And
badass, dude.
Yeah, dude. I was just really, really into the horrorcore scene in Detroit, the local scene, and it was just my thing, man.
It was such an original. I mean, I'm just, as a huge horror fan, it's just crazy to me that horrorcore even picked up in the first place with the whole Esham thing, and like it's just crazy that it caught on. And then I was watching like a real life documentary that was on Esham's YouTube, and you see that his fan base at the time in the 90s, and there's like, jocks and stuff, and it's crazy that it was like looked like it was almost mainstream in Detroit at the time. Like at least just it was for the locals.
Yeah, definitely. It was huge. I mean, Esham is definitely, for us, he was definitely the godfather of it. He was the first guy who introduced it to us, and we all kind of ran with it, And then they had Nodis and all that, and man.
And speaking of Nodis, you worked with Mastermind on Mastermind and Lord Infamous on one song.
Yeah, that's I love that track, man.
That's one of my go-to Jason Porter songs, especially on off of Appetite. That's like the best, one of my favorites on there. Except Appetite's got so many good songs, but
I appreciate that, man.
Gypsy's great. Love that song.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's get into your musical influences, because I mean, speaking of Gypsies, like what sample was on that? Like some old ass like hippie song on there, and then other stuff. You got some rock. You got samples from the song Why. I think you use like a Deep Red sample from like Dario Argento and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yep. I'm trying to think of the samples that I used on everything, but yeah. I mean, I run the gamut. I'll sample anything, man. I've sampled like Deicide, Korn.
Yeah.
I'll sample Dario Argento. I'll sample what's the name of that song? That's on Appetite for Self-Destruction from the 80s. I can't remember. It's an old 80s song, but I'll sample anything, man. I've sampled anything you can imagine. I listen to anything, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like, how people say, oh, I listen to everything, and they listen to like rap and metal. But I mean, like, I really listen to like everything. I listen to like jazz. I listen to old blues, pre-war blues. I have stuff like, I have recordings in my playlist from like the 1890s. I mean, I listen to freaking everything. I got like anything you can imagine.
That's super dope for a producer too, because you can, and that's kind of what I was saying about your beats, is you can tell that you go into more eclectic sounds rather than a lot of, I mean, I don't even think a lot of producers even do samples anymore. I feel like it's a lot more just, whatever is in their mix kits on their samples and stuff, on their, not samples, on their, on their programs.
Mm-hmm.
You never hear people reaching back and taking old samples anymore, and that's really lost in the craft, I think. I grew up a huge metalhead, metal, punk, hardcore. I always listened to rap, but like it was always only like Will Smith and the Ghetto Boys and like kind of like just surface stuff. And then I got into ICP in like 7th grade, but I didn't really get into like your stuff until like, 8 years ago or whatever.
Right.
Actually, I don't know where I was going with that question. What I was going to get into was the musical influences you have. You said Iron Maiden is your favorite band.
Yeah,
When my partner
like,
was doing some research, he said he saw that, and we were wondering if that was still your favorite band.
yeah, probably. I mean, that was kind of my go-to band back in the 80s when I was a kid. I listened to a lot of metal in the 80s, and then rap came in, like NWA came in, and Ghetto Boys, and Esham, and ICP, and everything just came in, and I kind of just went towards the rap way. But I still listen to metal too, though. But I was way more into rap.
See, that's exactly what happened to me too. I still consider myself almost more of a metalhead than like a rap head, but I listen to probably mostly rap now, because I just love going back into the old horrorcore stuff, and the new stuff's good too. Sometimes there's some new good stuff coming out, especially that Killing Spree EP that you put out with Mars.
Oh, appreciate that, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that shit's great. I've listened to that a bunch of times, checked out the music video. And speaking of that music video, you want to talk about what happened on, what is it, Playing with Death? Was that it?
Oh, Staring at Death.
Staring at Death, yeah.
Yeah. The video with the cops. Oh, my God, man. Well, I mean, okay, I know a lot of people were like, what the fuck, when they saw it. But it's like, okay, we were shooting a video on private property in somebody's backyard. Mm-hmm. We had a camera crew. We had a lighting board. We had loud music playing. There was like 8 people, 10 people standing there.
Yeah.
And somebody called the police and said they saw somebody getting shot. We were filming a shooting scene, but somebody said it was obvious that nobody got shot, that something was going on. You know what I mean? There was a camera crew there and everything. The part where I'm shooting the person in the car, that's what it's from. Yeah.
Was that influenced by Maniac?
Sudden, what's that?
Maniac? I remember that part now. You remember that Maniac when he shoots the dude in the car?
Yeah. That's a dope scene. Yep.
That explodes.
Yeah. But we were shooting that scene, and I guess someone had called the police and said they saw somebody get shot. So I'm standing there doing that scene, and all of a sudden there's like a million choppers, and all these cop cars pull up and get on bullhorns, and they were like around us. I mean, surrounded us completely. Like there's probably 20 cop cars out there. The whole place is surrounded. And they basically got out bullhorns, told us to come out, hands up, did the whole thing.
Just power
and
tripping,
put us in cuffs. What's that?
Just power tripping, basically.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, it was definitely not necessary. The gun we were actually using was a movie prop from Hollywood. I actually bought it from L.A., from Hollywood. Yeah, it was actually a plastic gun. So they put us in cuffs, and they were like, "Where's the weapon?" They thought it was real still, and we're like, "There's no weapon, man. It's a plastic prop." So we told them where it was. They checked it. They looked like idiots, and then they uncuffed us, and it was done.
Yeah.
But it was a huge deal, man. The entire friggin' neighborhood was out there and shit.
I bet. At least you guys did it smart with the fake weapon. I mean, a lot of rappers, even like I did a hardcore video, like hardcore metal punk band, and everyone had guns. And I was like, damn, if the cops shut this down, like we'd be fucked.
Yeah.
So that's smart. You guys did that. It looked like you had a director and like a light crew and shit there too. So
it was completely professional. We were doing a completely professional video. We weren't taking any chances, any stupid shit. But someone called the police, and I don't know what the reason was. They couldn't have possibly thought somebody was really getting shot. There's just no way.
Yeah. They probably just thought they could find some fucking weed or drugs on you or something. I don't know. They always try to go off on a hunch and then, find nothing. So.
Right.
So, speaking of music videos, that horror movie music video, like that's one of the things that got me really into Jason Porter. Like I was listening to, I think I had heard some stuff off Vengeance Is Mine and got these cheeseburgers, and then I Got Your Back mixtape. But when I saw that video, I was like, damn, this dude knows horror. This dude knows, this guy knows the video days. This guy knows the difference between 8mm and shot on video and film. So Yeah, that's when I was kind of like, I can kind of relate with this guy. Like, he actually knows horror. A lot of horrorcore guys, like, I don't know why they even get into it, because, like, if you look at their their lives or interests, they're not even really into this stuff. Really, I think they're just kind of getting into it because they're friends or it's a trend or whatever. But,
right. Like a bandwagon.
Yeah, but I think like other people, especially people who are from the 80s and 90s, like horror was a big part of the culture back then. And you really captured that in your video, like the 80s video store. So I was wondering what your influences were for the music video. And
the music video was kind of I kind of wanted to do something like something really lo-fi, like Polonia Brothers, or like, Polonia Brothers, Todd Sheets.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of do something like that. So that's where I came up with that idea from.
Kind of influenced by Video Violence. It reminded me of Video Violence, just with the whole video store and the snuff connection and stuff too. I don't know if you've seen that one.
That's one of my favorite movies. Yep.
Yeah. Quality Violence Cinema Discord, we have a huge SOV fan, like our fan base really loves the SOV movies, so I'm sure they'll dig on this conversation. But
nice.
So what are your favorite SOV movies? I mean, you mentioned Polonia Brothers and stuff.
Yeah, I hate to say it, man. Everybody's gonna think I'm crazy, but my favorite movie is Splatter Farm.
Oh, we love that
Everybody
movie.
thinks I'm crazy when I say that shit, but
no, we love
that movie. Yeah, I've seen it so many times I can pretty much recite it verbatim. But like, it's not, of course it's a terrible movie and all that, but it's like
comfort food.
When I was growing up, I always wanted to make a movie growing up, like at that age, but I could never afford a camera. Because back then cameras were like $2 or $3 grand, which is like $5 now,
Yep.
And nobody at that age in Detroit could afford a camera back then. So, So it's like when I see stuff like Splatter Farm or stuff like it, it's I really admire it, and that's really what I'm into.
Yeah. Did you ever see Feeders? There are other
Oh yeah. I have the VHS of Feeders. Yeah.
Feeders 2, Slay. I think it's Sleigh Ride or something. But
yep.
With the aliens.
I have that one.
Yeah. I think those are the only Polonia Brothers I've seen is Splatter Farm and those ones, but those are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do a SOV episode pretty soon, just because that's kind of what we do. Is we'll pick a topic and we could go over all our favorites and stuff, and so I think we're gonna do that pretty soon. How much did that video, the music video, cost to make? Since you were using real film, right? Like 8mm film on something.
Yeah.
So you had to develop that, and that cost money.
Yeah, I think I only spent maybe $1,200 or something on that video.
Well, that's not bad. I'd say that it really was more expensive than the average horrorcore video.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. But I wanted to like keep it real. I know you can like get those kind of effects in an editing program or whatever, but I wanted to like really use like film and do everything.
And real film people will notice that. I noticed that right off the get-go because I did some film classes. I used to make horror movies and stuff since I was in high school, and I could tell that you were using that real shit because over the years it's been really popular for horrorcore artists to use those 8mm filters or the VHS filters, and like I could tell that you were using solid like analog stuff. So
yeah, totally
freaking awesome. And then the actor Gary Herkimer, is that his name? Herkimer?
Yeah, Gary Herkimer. Yep.
Yeah. How did you pick him?
I actually found him in an ad online. I was looking. I think at there's some acting sites online where you can find actors, and I found him there, and he'd been in a lot of underground movies, and he did something on NBC. I'm trying to think what the name of it was, but he was playing like a killer. It was a whole episode too. He did he was like doing the reenactments for a killer for some show on NBC, but he was perfect. I mean, he's a good actor, and he's always doing movies. He's been doing movies for years. He's got a ton of movies out there.
Yeah, he's got a good face for it too. He just looks like a character. So
yeah. He's a really good actor too. Yeah.
That was a good pick. I'm glad you did that. Are you thinking about working any more in the film world? Possibly writing, directing, soundtrack, score, anything like that?
Man, I would love to do like a horrorcore soundtrack for an underground movie or something. I've always wanted to do that, but I don't really know any filmmakers that are currently making like horror movies. Like I know a couple of filmmakers, but like one of them's not really doing anything right now, and another one's just kind of doing documentaries. Actually, he's actually the guy that filmed horror movie, and he did a couple other videos for me. Oh, nice. He's actually back in the day, he worked on a lot of horror movies like Demonic Toys, and I think he was he was on Leprechaun and some other stuff.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to hear a Jason Porter soundtrack. I actually know a lot of, because of Quality Violence Cinema, we know a lot of directors and stuff. So hopefully maybe they'll hear this. And if you guys want, an awesome soundtrack, check out his Porterville Beats site. It's not just horrorcore sounding stuff. It's really, really all over the place for whatever you need. I'm actually probably going to buy a couple beats off that site for my, cause I do Twitch streaming. So I need some like original music in the background. So I actually wrote down which beats I wanted. So I'm probably going to buy some soon. It's pretty good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah. But no, writing, directing, acting, anything like that. Do you think you'd ever do that?
No, I've never done it, but, I've always kind of thought about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I've never done it.
What's that? A short film by Jason Porter? Like I could only imagine, like, you know,
yeah.
I mean, there's a couple other rappers that have like done short films and stuff, but there's some cool ones. There's some cool short films by artists and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Let's see here. What are your favorite horror films? Top 3. Do you have off the top of your head, or do you have them written down or anything?
Top 3, I would say probably like Splatter Farm is probably my favorite, I'd say. I think the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is totally up there.
Definitely.
And then, God, man, that's really tough. I like stuff like Burning Moon and violent shit. And,
yeah. Burning Moon's
Killing
got that hell scene at the end.
Yeah,
that
man.
Is great.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I feel like you could just put your music over that. That would be a perfect music video.
That would be dope.
Just so brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen any Olaf? Like, is that Olaf Ittenbach? I think he did that one. Have you ever seen any of his other movies, like Prometheus, Lord of the Dead, or he's just a effects person, so that's why his movies have such good gore and terrible acting.
Yeah. I think, didn't he do violent shit? Or I think it's called Zombie Doom.
That was Andreas Snoss did those ones.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which those are great. Zombie Doom is my favorite of the 3. I love that.
Yeah, movie. I love it. I actually have that one. It's a great one.
I think that one's got like the most, because the first one is like total backyard effects and stuff, but I'd say by Zombie Doom they start to get their footing and it kind of looks more like a real movie.
Yeah, it's done really well, and there's like a killing like every 2 minutes or something in that movie. It's really good.
I used to make like gore mixtapes and put them on YouTube, and I use a lot of clips from Zombie Doom on there.
Oh, I could do that. Yeah, that'd be good.
So what are your favorite non-horror films? Do you have any?
Non-horror films? Oh, God. I'm trying to think. I don't really watch a whole lot of movies.
Yeah, it's tough
that are
when
not horror. Yeah, I mean, I'd say
tough when you're grinding too. Like you're working pretty frequently. You said you were in the studio all night last night.
Oh yeah. I actually been in the studio all night since about 8:00 last night.
And like, yeah, whenever I message you, you like message me back at the craziest hours and I'm like, yep, that's the artist, man.
Yep. I usually sleep during the day.
I could never do that. I'd have to like use some sort of drug enhancement in order to do that.
Maybe I do.
Oh yeah, judging by your lyrics. I heard a little bit about you starting sobriety though. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, but did you go?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you go sober off of?
most recently, I went sober from drinking and smoking pot and shit like that. I haven't really done anything in a few years, actually. At this point, what has it been? 2000. It's been almost 4 years at this point. And before that, I mean, when I was younger, I did a lot of hard stuff. Coke, crack, pills, tons of stuff like that. But I got off that when I was younger. And then I had a drinking problem for a long time. I actually fucked my liver up really bad. And I got off that probably about 4 years ago, close to 4 years ago. So
that's great, man. I'm also sober off of alcohol. I think I'm 3 years now. I did a 5 year and then fell off the wagon, but it happens.
Yeah, I did that too. Yep.
And yeah, it's for when you're trying to focus on shit, like it's pretty important. It honestly is. You see artists like, Uncle Al from Ministry or whatever. That dude is just like killed himself on drugs and alcohol.
Oh yeah,
and
I'm surprised he's alive.
Still going, and they're touring and stuff and putting out albums like every year, and it's like, damn, dog, like take it easy. I think he's switched to wine. He's quit all drugs. He's just a wine drinker now. But
that's it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Uncle Al is alive, man.
I know. Have you seen him lately? He looks like a freaking demon.
I have. I've seen pictures of him. Yeah, he looks really bad, man.
Yeah. Yep. Which is like, I don't know. He's still mad talented, but I can't look at him.
Right.
So, back to movies. Has a movie ever disturbed or disgusted you, like gone too far?
God, man, when I was a kid, definitely. Like nowadays, I mean, since the internet's out and seeing people get their heads cut off with a fucking chainsaw, I don't really know what could disturb me at this point. But like back when I was a kid, man, shit like Faces of Death disturbed the fuck out of me because of course I thought it was all real and all that. It was kind of like a rite of passage in the 80s for kids to see Faces of Death.
Did you ever
then of course, what's that?
Oh yeah, I think you were about to get into it actually. Like Traces of Death and Faces of Death 2000 and all the real stuff. Did you ever find that stuff when you were younger?
I did actually, yeah. Really, yep.
It was kind of funny.
When I was a kid, that fucked me all up.
It was funny how they like mixed that into the video stores, like all innocently. Like that would be in the new release section, like a Traces of Death, and it would be a skull on the cover, but like inside is like 2 hours of basically a snuff film. But for some reason, on a technicality, it's not a snuff for some reason. But we're paying money for death, so whatever you want to.
Right. And they'd have, I can't remember what. Didn't they have death metal soundtracks on those?
Yeah, different labels donated their music, or I don't know if donated, but yeah, that's kind of how I found out about a lot of metal bands, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I think Relapse might have worked with them, or some record label worked with Traces of Death. But yeah, that became popular to put metal in the background. Now the mixtape scene is insane. I don't know if you've like looked into it, but now it's like it's all files now. It's not physical content, but people are making like the most fucked up mixtapes, and it's basically just a competition to see who can make the grossest shit. These are video mixtapes, so I mean they're mixing like scat porn with beheadings, with like maybe put something cute in the middle, but it's pretty nasty stuff. I can't really get into that stuff, but I've seen enough shocking content in my life. But have you ever seen any like cinematic movies, like say August Underground, Serbian film, like stuff with like hardcore taboo or like really gross?
Yeah, I've seen both of those. Yeah, I've seen both of them.
Did they bother you at all, or uncomfortable at all?
Not really. I mean, knowing that it's not real, it just doesn't really get to me anymore. If I saw that shit when I was a kid, it would have really fucked me up. But
so you didn't even get like a tiny little twinge of uncomfortable when the baby fucking scene in Serbian film?
Well, I had heard about it like before I saw it. Like people were telling me, like they did this and they did that. So when I saw it, I was expecting it. So
yeah.
They're
making a documentary pretty soon about that movie. It looks pretty good. I don't know if you're interested, but that documentary.
I'd probably watch that.
Yeah,
I'd definitely watch that.
It's interesting because that director totally lost his career from that movie, and pretty much everyone in the movie. That's why he hasn't done anything since. He was supposed to make like a supernatural western afterwards, but like no one will fund that. So
I never heard that. I didn't know he lost his career after that. I can almost see why, though. Shit.
Yeah. Unearthed Films is trying their best to like pick up the pieces and like get him, like they just re-released the movie and like with all these features and stuff. So hopefully he can like survive off that for another 10 years, but I don't know if he'll be making anything else.
I mean, really, after that, he should be like infamous right now. You know what I mean? He should be everybody should want to see another movie from him at this point, right?
I know that shit came out in 2010 and it's still number one on everyone's like most hardcore list. So, I mean, next to August Underground, like, I don't know. What do you think about the August Underground movies? Because I saw a little influence. I don't know if you were influenced, but similarity with the horror movie music video.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's a fucked up movie. I've seen it a couple times.
Have you seen the second
definitely
one?
Up there.
Mortem?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the one that goes over the top. And it had Killjoy from Necrophagia in it.
Yep.
It's a good one.
That's a movie. Yeah, it's a fucked up movie.
Any other extreme horror films that you like that you've seen that you can mention?
Gosh, besides the ones we've been talking about, like extreme. Yeah. Have you ever seen Sadomaster?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty extreme. It's really, really low budget. It's an SOB, like real low budget, but the things they do in it are real extreme. Yeah.
Nice.
I would say check that one out.
Sadomaster. All right.
Yep.
I'm going to post that on QVC, see if anyone's seen it. I'm sure someone has. What's the darkest track that you've ever written?
The darkest track I've ever written? Oh, man. Gosh, I'd almost have to say, like, probably horror movie. Yeah. I think because I was writing it, and I was probably because I was writing it for a video. That was the entire intention, was to put together like the I can't remember. It's fucked up. I can't remember the sample, but the sample is from an old SOV.
Ooh, I love that sample too.
And I'm trying to remember what it is, man, but I can't off the top of my head.
The atmosphere on that song is just, it puts you in like this like, I don't know, like you're walking like through a dark alley about to kill someone. It's fucking awesome. I love it.
I appreciate that. That's definitely the intention.
I don't think I'm the only one that feels that too. When you hear that beat, it's murderous. It's awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just trying to go into my head into some of your songs, because I mean, I listen to you a lot, so I'm just trying to think of some lyrics, but I swear you go darker than horror movie. I swear you go.
I probably really do. I probably really do. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head though, like, because I mean, I wrote that with the entire video in mind and everything.
The one lyric I think's hilarious is "Motherfuckers die from AIDS like ghost fake."
Right. That's an oldie. I remember that one.
With a bucket of coat hanger.
Yeah. Yep. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that one's not too dark, but like, it's memorable.
I appreciate that. That song is called Die. You can check that out on Spotify.
Hell yeah. Is that on Crackology?
Crackology, yeah.
Crackology, yeah.
Yeah.
Crackology,
shameless plug.
For those of you who don't know, is like kind of a mix of like, it's like your greatest hits album, sort of, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I just picked out like 12 tracks like that had like the most views and ones that people have liked the most over the years.
Yeah. That song with Kill a C is awesome too. I didn't hear that until I heard Crackology. So.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Did you meet him in person, or did you have him send you a verse?
When we did those tracks, he actually sent them to me. He did those. I think he did those in Strange Music Studio, and then like years later, I met up with him at the Gathering, and we actually had the same flight out of there and hung out and talked for a while.
Yeah, he seems like an interesting person over the years.
Yeah.
And he just made a comeback. Like, I don't know if he's doing shows, but he just started reselling like more of his like evil seed. You know how he put out like Tainted Flesh and Murder Eyes and stuff? He like put those out again. I was like, wow, I thought he was over it, but
yeah, he actually wrote a book. I don't know if you know about that, but he just wrote a book that came out, and he is doing shows. Yeah. He's been doing shows again. And I think he's putting out, I don't know if he put out new music yet, but I think he's got some coming. Yeah, he's making a comeback.
I wonder if he'll go back to his roots at all, or maybe, I don't know, like maybe he'll kind of like mix it up or something. But,
yeah, there's no telling.
So since your career began, I guess that was in '92 when you did your first recording. How has life changed? I mean, you talked about sobriety, but maybe popularity wise, like, have you noticed like your fan base going up and down, or like with the whole digital platform from physical, like what have you noticed, like a difference in your career?
Oh man, I mean, putting out tapes on consignment back in the 90s and compared to now is just two different worlds. People have it. The kids nowadays and artists nowadays just really lucky, man. I didn't have the internet back then, so it was really difficult. And I would drive like flyers around everywhere. Like, here's a good example of the difference. Like, I drive like flyers around everywhere for hours and hours, for days, and go back there like 2 or 3 weeks later, and there'd be like one flyer gone. You know what I mean? It was really hard to get attention back in the day compared to now. Now you can just get online and you can do what we're doing now, of course.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a middle class. It's made for every man now. Where before it's like you're either struggling or you're succeeding, and
right.
Now it's kind of like
exactly
everyone's
right.
kind of stuck in the middle class. It seems like.
Yeah. Yep.
Which isn't quite a good thing, but it's also like for smaller artists, I guess you can hustle pretty faster. I mean, you don't have to go to Kinko's and like be out in the cold, like handing out flyers and shit. But
oh yeah.
At the same time,
you can hit way more people.
Are you making more money though, like in the digital market, than you were like when you were making physical CDs and like selling them to people in the stores and stuff?
I mean, in the 90s, we didn't make a lot of money selling tapes. We were actually selling cassettes back then.
Yeah.
We didn't make a lot of money selling cassettes, or we didn't make a ton of money doing shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like in the early 2000s, like Vengeance Is Mine era, I was selling a lot of CDs. I definitely made way more money on CDs than I did on digital. But now it's like people barely buy CDs no matter what, And the streams they're nickels and dimes. I mean, you make some money, but it's not a lot, man. I mean, 3 or 4 streams for a penny, you know what I mean? So it's...
Yeah. Well, in that case, I've probably given you about $1,000 in streams.
Nice.
Was just wondering, especially that early 2000s era when just before CDs kind of got phased out, I was always kind of curious for any artist like of your tier, like how successful your career was selling that physical content until like that fucking piracy and digital market came in.
Right. Yeah, you never know. I mean, back in the 90s, I didn't sell a ton back then. I really didn't start selling a lot until like Vengeance Is Mine. So that's kind of what I gauge it off of.
Would you say that's your biggest album?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
More than likely. I think it's got more streams than all my other albums.
Okay. I think Appetite should be, but Vengeance Is Mine's classic shit. But I think Appetite, like, I don't know if you remember, but like a couple of years ago, I messaged you and I was like, "Where's Appetite? I can't find it anywhere." And then like
I do remember that.
Yeah,
I think I remember.
Yeah, I was super bummed because like I heard the album and I was hooked on it, and then like I lost it, and then I couldn't find it anywhere online for a while. And you're like, "It'll be up soon." And then you told me about that collab you were doing with Mars, and about a year later, all that came online. I was like, "Fuck yeah, he came through."
Yep. Awesome. And I also have another collab coming out with Mars. I'm going to be doing another EP with Mars. It's actually finished. I just got to put together a promo plan and get it out there.
That's awesome. I'd love to have Mars on the show. I don't think he's as much into movies and stuff, so I don't really know if it would be a good fit. But I'm also thinking about starting kind of like a horrorcore show on my own, kind of separate from this. Because I don't think like artists like you and especially a lot of the older artists get represented enough. So it's like be cool to like dish out some information, especially what you said about the Detroit scene and stuff. Like that needs to be
Right.
heard. That's like valuable to fans. And
Right. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Totally.
yeah. Are there any horrorcore wicked shit artists that you still listen to?
God, I'm trying to think. Like nowadays, I still listen to Esham,
Yep, me
Gangsta Nip. You know Gangsta Nip,
Hell yeah.
of course. Listen to old Ghetto Boys, ICP, still dope, of course.
Always.
I listen to a lot of the old horror from Detroit.
Yeah.
I like a lot of like old House of Crazies and stuff like that. And
Yeah, I like the lo-fi
lo-fi
horrorcore, like Bedlam and stuff like that.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
That's
the
the first Prozac album's really good, like the Afterbirth.
Yeah,
love that.
Yep, yeah, me too. That's a good one.
What are your favorite subjects to write about?
Gosh, just like dark side of life.
Yeah,
like living in a tent at a state park.
Yeah,
you know, getting a $20 blowjob in a truck stop parking lot because you're strung out. Like stupid shit that I may or may not have done years ago.
Yep. And then throw in a reference to like a 90s game show and
yeah,
like
right,
just some
right.
awesome pop culture stuff from back in the day. Like I pick up on on the lyrics, and it's awesome the way it makes the places it makes your mind go. It's awesome.
Definitely. I appreciate that. That's definitely the intention.
Any other like extreme artists that you like that you can think of? Directors, musicians, painters, anything like that you like?
You ever heard Portal?
No, I haven't.
Try out Portal. That's extreme metal. I don't even know what to classify them as, but it's they're pretty good.
Okay.
They're actually Phil Anselmo's favorite band.
Oh, cool.
Pantera. Yeah. Check them out. Not a lot of people know about them. They don't seem to have a ton of views online, but they're pretty extreme. God, you ever listen to Captain Beefheart?
I think I've heard. What's his most famous one? That's old school, right? Like that's from like.
Yeah, that's like 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
Like he was extreme. He did a lot of really strange music. I listened to a lot of that shit too. A lot of him.
I think of Dr. Demento when I think of Captain Beefheart for some reason.
Yeah. He used to. Dr. Demento used to play him. Yeah.
Okay, that's why it reminded me of it. Yeah. Anything else you'd want to say?
I just
plug your stuff, maybe.
What's that? Yeah. I appreciate you having me on. Check out jasonportermusic.com. And if you're looking for hip hop beats, I do hip hop beats. I produce hip hop beats. You can check out portervillebeats.com. And check out any of my new releases on Spotify. Jason Porter and Mars, Killing Spree.
The Crackthology.
New stuff coming soon.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for being on, man. I'm a big fan. I mean, if I could, I'd talk to you forever. I just ran out of questions, so I don't really know what else to say.
No, that's all good, man.
But
I appreciate it.
You're legendary, and keep it up. I can't wait to see your next release. Thanks for coming on the show, and we'll keep an eye out for whatever you have. I'll post on our site anything else you got coming out so people can keep an eye out.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Peace.
Keep feeling we were lost one. Watch the world keep praying that I die one. Why did lie tell me everything was great, saying my life could be saved when I was headed to the grave? I'm at the end of my rope, I'm at the end of the road, standing at the altar selling my soul. Your life was sailing, everything that you've been told is a lie. Lying to your face and behind your back, they're hoping you die. Every CD I drop is much worse than the last one. Death threats on the phone when all he playing with is cap guns. I'm liable to walk up in your place with a razor